welcome to the Recovery Daily Podcast. I'm your host, Rachel Abbasi. I'm a grateful recovering alcoholic and stroke survivor. And I've had a good day so far, and I'm going to tell you all about it. And I think we're going to have a topic, be born from my day. So I woke up thinking, what am I going to do today? It's that normal thing that I've been feeling over the past couple of weeks, which is what I came to a term about it today, which is I feel flat, spiritually flat. I think I might have mentioned that term yesterday. I'm not sure. But I'm like, yeah, that's a really good word for it. And that's kind of stuck with me, I guess, for the past 24 hours. So, I didn't really know what I was going to do today, but that's okay. It's like, go get them, Rachel. We're going to get up and we're going to go do it. Whatever it is, we're going to go do it. So I went to my morning meetings as usual, and I took some notes, and of course those apply a bit to today, and I'll get to how that seems to play in with how my day went. The reading today was Thought for the Day. It's Thursdays, so those of you who are regulars know that that is meditation day, and we also read the Thought for the Day from the Hazelden website for AA. So the thought for the day, what I heard, I like to say what I heard, not what it was about. What I heard was about how faith overcomes loneliness, fear, anxiety, pain, sorrow, and despondency. It also helps us to manage our desires, our unhealthy desires, and it helps us get along better with others. I also heard that faith changes people's lives, and all of us, and then I started writing my own thoughts about it. So that's kind of where it stopped. It was talking about how people do change. And so I thought, okay, this is great. Like, that's good. I mean, I need to lean into this whole faith thing and see if it might get me out of this boredom that I've been talking about, this restlessness. So then this woman shared today about, it was just, I'll never be able to articulate it as beautifully as she did, but she said something to the effect of, how can we be bored when there's such an amazing, beautiful world around us? Like, how can I be bored looking at the world around me? And I thought, yeah, that is where gratitude is. But the way that she explained it is like, we have been here, right, for so many years that it's normal for me to look at a tree. It's normal for me to see shadows and see birds fly, and it becomes just normal. And I'm not in awe always with what was created around me. And she said, how can I be bored with that? Because she apparently has been challenged with her own struggles with boredom. And so maybe it's just in the air. But I thought, wow, that was just beautifully articulated, especially with a lot of stuff that I've been talking about lately. One of the episodes that I had recently was about how can what I feel not be real? And I think I was talking about signs. I was talking about faith and spirituality, and how if I lean into it and I feel better, how can that not be real? And so the thumbnail or the picture for the episode that I put on social media was a picture of a woman, standing on the beach in her yellow bikini, and there was wind, and she's kind of like just facing the wind and her hair is blowing. And that was like a representation for me of how can what I feel not be real? And where was I going with that? I have no idea, but we're going to keep going. So I was thinking what she said this morning is like, yeah, it's so true. Like, oh, the wind is a fascinating concept, and yet I feel it every day, so I'm not in awe with it. And so getting back to that feeling of a young child where we see things for the first time and we're amazed by them. So I thought that was a really great share this morning. So I wanted to spread that. I wanted to spread that fantastic feeling that it gave me to you. But what I started thinking about this morning with the reading and um, how faith changes people, like, don't we all actually want to be changed? I was thinking about this idea of like people don't change. And for those of you who are longtime listeners, you know that I used to say people don't change. And I was adamant, people don't change. And I thought about it honestly with the concept of, I think it was always centered around my ex-husband. That's when I was like, people don't change, and I just blew it off. People don't change. And then it just spread to everybody that I know in my life. People don't change. And then I changed. I became sober and I changed. And even my mother has said that I'm a different person. And even though I'm the same person, everything about me has changed. And they say in early sobriety, the only thing you have to change is everything. And I love that because that's really what happens. Everything changes, but it's slow. For some people, it's slow. But don't we all want to be changed? I was trying to think of different types of people and do they want to be changed? I was thinking like the president, or I was thinking somebody who's struggling with addiction, somebody who's chronically ill, somebody who's rich and famous, somebody who's beautiful, somebody who's ugly. Like I was like thinking of each of these people, and I'm like, can I generalize and say that everybody wants to be changed? And the reason why I feel like it might be true is that everybody compares themselves to other people, and everybody can find something that they would like to be better about themselves. And so that's my like opening door. That's where the door had cracked open for me, where I can say generally, don't we all want to be changed in some way? Even people who are like, I love everything about my life. I wouldn't want anything to change. I feel like if you really dug deep, there is something you would be open to changing about yourself or about something. And then when we have experienced some change, like I have, I want to now be a channel for change. Now that I've experienced it, I'm like, I want other people to see that you can change. And so now I'm like passionate about this idea that people can change. And then I want to encourage it even, which is funny. That life has changed so dramatically for me. How I see things has changed so much. And I was just in the shower, TMI, but I was just in the shower and blew dry my hair. I'm trying to blow dry my hair more so it's poofier. and I'm sweating doing this podcast. But anyway, I was just in the shower and had a point. I was thinking, about how my mom said that I'm a different person. And I know she's just using the best words that came to mind. You're a different person. And I thought, but I'm not a different person. I'm the same person, but I see things differently. And what I heard somebody say this morning is the light has come on within me. That's what somebody else said. And I'm like, yeah, that's really true. It's like I was walking around in the dark, but not the dark outside me. It was dark on the inside. And I feel like the light has come on. And the way that light, the kerosene that turns that light on, that feeds that light, is faith. And it's not just faith in a higher power, even that, well, it is faith in a higher power because my higher power, if I use my definition of higher power, a higher power is everything outside of myself. So the kerosene that turned that light on is opening the door to everything outside of me, is asking for help, is opening my arms and being like, I'm here, I'm willing, and I'm open. So um help me, whoever it is, help me. And so this morning, what does that have to do with me getting up and not knowing what I was going to do today? Well, I was thinking about all of that stuff in my morning meeting. And then after my meetings, I had my psychiatrist appointment. And I was talking to her about this recent feeling of like restlessness and boredom and all of that stuff. And I said that I've been trying to lean into, I, I've been trying to do something about it, and I don't know what that something is. Like I'm being a little more active, and I feel like that's as much as it's great that I want to be more active, and I feel like I kind of can be more active. I feel like that is a mirage. I feel like I'm actually feeling worse lately because I'm being more active. But that's a side note. So, we started talking about what else might be missing. So I was talking about how, well, we've been planning on moving. We've been planning on moving, even though I've just recently told you that we were planning on moving. We've been thinking about it for quite some time. We actually had a contract on a house a couple years ago, and thank goodness it didn't come through because I got really sick after that. I had a really steep decline 2 years after my stroke where I just had additional symptoms and they've never gone away. And that's when I ended up having to leave my job. We still aren't quite sure why they think I might have had a second stroke, but I don't know. Nobody knows. They don't know what they're doing. Um, so anyway, I think we've been thinking about moving. We're waiting for our dream home to come on the market, and we've been waiting and waiting and waiting, and I've been cleaning and cleaning. Like our house is in this state of perfection, and I'm trying to keep it at that until we are getting ready, until we push the button and we're ready to sell our house, because the new house will be contingent on selling this one. So I'm in this like state of purgatory. I don't know if that's the right word, but that's the one I'm going to use, where it's like I'm waiting. I've been excited, and then I'm kind of fizzling. My excitement's fizzling out because I'm starting to be like, is it even really going to happen? Is it even really going to happen? I mean, it's kind of getting to the point, and all we're doing is waiting for the right house. but we're very specific about the type of house that we want because it's going to be our forever home, like that we're going to grow old in this house. So we've been waiting and waiting and waiting. And I think that it's making me have this underlying feeling of restlessness. And as much as I was telling my psychiatrist today, I'm like, as much as I try to see the good in everything, I'm known for that. I even have a coffee mug that my husband gave me that says that. Um, I think I've told you that before. As much as I try to do that and see the good in everything, and I told him, whenever the right house doesn't come on the market, I just know, yay, we get to keep looking. And he responded to me, I think that was yesterday. He responded to me and he's like, I'm tired of looking. And I thought, I'm tired of looking too. Why don't I say that? Why don't I admit that I'm tired of looking? Because I feel like I have to, it's like I feel like I have to keep filling up my balloon. I have to keep filling up my balloon of inspiration, and that gets tiring. Why don't I just admit that I'm tired of looking? Because where's that going to get me? That's what I said to my psychiatrist. Where's it going to get me if I just admit that? If I talk about the bad, what good is that going to do? Of course, the answer is, well, you're talking about it. And if you don't talk about it, it's not going to go away. Um, it's, what did I say? We were talking about how feelings don't go away. And I said, yeah, it's kind of like feelings are like a planet. So hear me out. A feeling or an emotion or whatever is like how a planet is in orbit and it remains unchanged. That's what we want. But it's going to keep turning at the same rate. It's going to keep staying in its orbit until some sort of force pushes it out of its orbit or makes it change. Nothing's going to change unless I make a change. And that's how feelings are. Nothing's going to change that feeling inside of me unless there is some force that nudges it in a different direction. So we were talking about all of this stuff. I love my psychiatrist. So we were thinking that's maybe one underlying reason for the restlessness. Another is that I've been talking about writing a book. So this book has been challenging for me. And I think the reason why is because cognitively, as much as you all probably don't notice much uh, wrong with my thinker. And I practice talking every day on this podcast, and I know that that's done a lot for me to talk and remember, like try to finish sentences and stuff like that. That was very, very hard in the beginning. And I used to have to actually look at my script. Like I would write my script and then I had to like read through the script while I did the podcast. And now I'm at the point where I can, for the most part, you guys know I have hiccups, but for the most part, I can remember what I'm talking about by the end of the sentence. And it's just a big struggle. It sounds weird, but it's a big struggle for me. And you can usually tell, I think, when I space out, which I just did. So let's see. Totally have no idea what my point was. Isn't it? It always happens. Those of you who have been listening for a long time, it always happens. When I talk about I'm doing really good, not forgetting what I'm talking about, and then I forget what I'm talking about. Um, and that's why I have notes in front of me. So this book has been challenging because I can't remember when I'm in, like, if I read so reading number one is difficult because I have to move my eyes. Then remembering what I'm reading, by the time I get to the next paragraph, I still have to remember what the first paragraph was about. That's what stories, that's what stories are for. You remember the beginning. And so I'm trying to write a chapter, and yet I'm like, as I'm reading, I'm like, I don't remember what the first part was about. So I've been throwing up my hands and being a little bit like, maybe I can't do it. Maybe I'm not able to do this. In my job, I used to write. That's what I used to do. I wrote along with a bunch of other stuff that I used to do. I wrote, I edited, used my brain. And today it seems like I can't do the things. I mean, that's why I don't work, because I can't do the things that I used to be able to do. So I'm trying to figure out, how can I write a chapter with this deficit, with this memory problem? And so I started listening to a book yesterday, and I don't think I can pronounce for you what the book is called, but I'm going to give it a try. I'm looking it up really quick. It's called Digital Zettelkasten. Digital Zettelkasten. And I think it's German. That sounds German. But anyway, it's a method for taking notes. Like if you're reading books, or you think of ideas, like you're riding on the metro and you're like, oh, that's a really good idea. You write it down. And the original Zettelkasten, I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right, was made for paper. And it was a way of organizing your notes so that later you can write a book. You can make sense of them. You can correlate. You can draw lines between what is associated with what, and you can end up creating something bigger, like a book. So I thought, well, let me just listen to this book. It's just an hour, almost 2 hours, and just see what it's all about, because I've never heard of it before. So I'm listening to it, and although I don't think it's necessarily exactly made for someone like me, like I don't know that it's going to help me at the point where I'm at with the book. I mean, I'm not closed off to it yet, but just listening to it gave me inspiration for how I might be able to write my book and be able to remember what's in the chapter. So I have a plan. And I mean, I'm at chapter 5, but what I'm doing is repurposing my podcast episodes. So I haven't had to do a lot of remembering. I'm taking the correlated topics and transcribing the episodes and then putting them into a chapter that are associated with each other with the designated, topic and outline for that chapter. But when it gets to the point where I need to edit it, I'm getting it's questionable if I'm able to do it, because I don't know if I'm repeating myself in the chapters or anything. And I know eventually I'm going to need an editor, but I need to write the book first. I can't get an editor until I write the book. So, I was telling my psychiatrist, I'm determined that this is going to happen. I am going to write the book, and I can take as long as I want, but it's going to happen. And she said, oh, I know it's going to happen. If you want to do it, it's going to happen. So, so I think that might be something else that's been kind of stuck in my craw, as we used to say, with my Southern college roommate, stuck in my craw. So that has been sitting there too, is this desire to write my book, and then feeling like I don't know how to do it. I don't know if I have the capability anymore cognitively to do it, but I'm going to make it happen. I'm going to figure it out. And I just got a little bit of inspiration just by starting to read this book, listen to this book. So, what that is a sign to me that when I'm feeling a little bit restless, I might want to look for a book or something else that might inspire. And not knowing that it was going to work that way, that's what happened. I found a book that is inspiring me. So I am going to pick that. Actually, I already picked up the book again and started to organize, and I think it's going to help a lot. So I think that's also been stuck in my craw, as they say. And then I've been having just those other feelings that have not really gone away, the fears after having a stroke and living with a disability, and that just doesn't seem to go away. But I'm talking it through with my psychiatrist, with my mom, with friends, and it it helps. It helps to talk about it. Hearing somebody in my stroke support group yesterday talk about her struggles with the exact same thing helped. Not that I want her to struggle, but it helped me understand that I'm not alone in my struggles. So that was my psychiatry appointment. There was a couple other things, but that was the gist of the psychiatry appointment. And I talked a little bit about leaning into faith and stuff. But what I determined more than that with her was connection. We were talking about connection, because isn't faith connection? Isn't my higher power connection? What I remembered when I was talking to my sponsor a couple hours ago was that, and you lifetime listeners know, I used to have it on my calendar or on my whiteboard to call somebody every day, to call one person every day. And if you remember that, that was in that was in season one, I think. And I haven't done that. So we're picking that back up again. And today I talked to my psychiatrist for an hour. I talked to my mom for like an hour and a half, and it was such a nice conversation. Such a nice conversation. Sometimes, you know what's funny? And mom, hi, I love you if you're listening. I don't think she listens, but um, sometimes I'll talk about something on this podcast that I'm that I don't know that I feel comfortable bringing up to anyone personally. Isn't that funny? That I'll share it with the world, but I feel a little uncomfortable bringing it up to my mom or bringing it up to my dad, or you name it, a friend, whoever, or my husband. Um, I don't know why that is, but I think because I don't have to look or hear what judgment comes back. When I say it here, it's just like, okay, you unleashed it. It doesn't matter what anybody thinks. But when I'm actually one-on-one with somebody and I say something, I'm like waiting to be accepted. I'm waiting for, okay, what's the judgment going to be? Are they okay? Do they think I'm crazy? I must have said to my mom, at least 5 times today when we were talking, maybe I'm crazy. I think I'm crazy. I think I'm losing my mind. I said it like 6 different ways today. And finally, she probably got sick of me saying that. She was like, Rachel, you're not crazy. You're not crazy. Um, so yeah, it's interesting. You probably know what I'm talking about, where you when you're interacting with someone, that's where some of that, I think, anxiety or anticipation comes from. When you're one-on-one with somebody and you're like, what are they going to say? What are they going to think about me? And I made this commitment to this podcast because I lost a friend of mine that meant the world to me. He meant a lot to me. And I was friends with him since I was little. And he's dead now. And I made the commitment to show up here and talk about my deepest, darkest problems because I want somebody else out there who has the same uh, struggles to know that they're not alone. That's why I'm here, because I don't want somebody else to die needlessly because they feel alone or they can't do it or it doesn't, the program doesn't stick or what have you. um, I like to come here and talk about it, and I'm not judged. Unless somebody gives me a thumbs down, then I'm being judged. But I just ignore it. Those people are insane who give me a thumbs down. I'm kidding. Okay. So what's my point? After that, after I talked to my mom, I talked to my sponsor for about 45 minutes. So connection was the theme of the day. So I woke up this morning saying, what am I going to do today? And now I sit, it's 311. That's a band name that I knew in college. And my recent sorority sister who passed away, 311 was one of her favorite groups. Just a side note that I just thought of. Anyway, that's really sweet. So signs, am I right, Emily? Signs. There it was. So it was 3:12 now. And my day is full. My day was full and it happened on its own. I didn't really have to plan what I was going to do today. Life happened for me today. And I would like to announce, I'm very proud of myself. I did an entire hour of yoga. I just finished that before my shower. So I'm really excited to have done that, and I'm hoping I will do it again, but I'm not trying not to put a lot of pressure on myself. I'm excited to be able to move, and that's because of my dry needling for my back. And I'm excited to have the inspiration. That means that's a signal that my cup is full, that I'm inspired. And it's a signal that I had enough spoons. So hopefully I have a couple spoons left over to make dinner because we're having icy cold cod. That's what we call it in our house. We're having cod with almonds. And I don't know what that means, but I have the recipe book out and that's what I'm getting ready to do. So I think that my message for myself today is that sometimes I don't have to have my day planned. It's also reach out and talk to somebody, reach out and touch someone, and just don't give up. Don't give up on yourself. You're doing good, Rachel. You're doing good. And I appreciate you showing up for me and showing up for yourself. And I will talk to you tomorrow.